Julian, thank you so much for joining me today. How's it going?
It's going awesome. How is it going for yourself?
It is pretty good here in London, although it is also very hot.
Yes, yes. Welcome to my world, living in the South, where it's hot like 6 months out of the year, and you
Oh
sweat
my
just walking
goodness.
out your door.
I can't cope with it. I just don't want to go outside. So listen, thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to talk to you again, take two.
Right. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. Um, so listen, I know about you and I know you have this super cool story, but I just want to start with the people who are watching this and listening. If you could, I know it's difficult to summarize in a few minutes, but just give us some background about who you are and what's your story.
Okay, so brief background. I'll keep out all the details because I love storytelling, so I got to be concise right here. Okay, so I I go to medical school for like a year. It's cool. It's in New York. And I'm from the South, so it's a culture. It's a huge change of culture for me, and so it blows my mind away. I'm enjoying school. Deep down, I'm still questioning, is school the right thing for me, even though I'm going through with it. And then through of all things, through happy hours, through various happy hours, I kind of notice other people, and then I strike conversations with strangers, and they happen to have jobs that are what you call location independent, and so they have no offices, and I'm very confused by that. It's like, so wait a minute, so how do you work? It's like we just work from a laptop, and then we travel sometimes, and I fall in love that night with the idea of that, but yet I'm still scared because I'm like, it seems a lot of risk. And school was like the safe option for me because I was fairly intelligent, not to brag, and so I knew that was going to always be there. But deep down, my passion wasn't really there, and so end of the year, I do pretty well, and then I wake up in the middle of the night, walk upstairs, play some music, and I was like, I'm done, I'm not going back. And so I tell everyone the next day that, hey, I'm going to do this fitness thing and become a writer. I've never written a day in my life, and I was terrible at English, and people look at me like I'm crazy. I think some people wanted to drug test me to make sure I didn't like get into any crazy activities overnight, and then so yeah, I worked my way from there, and I ended up here, and then so my started 206 Fitness, and the 206 is an acronym. It's one of my nicknames, but there's also 206 bones in the body. So,
Clever.
yeah, so I paid a little tribute to my
Nice.
year in New York.
So tell me, I'm curious to know, like, what is it exactly that you do with 206 Fitness, and what are you trying to create?
So, so it's personal training, but I'm more online. I do a lot of consulting, but I usually sum it up by this: I try to help people get unstuck in their fitness lives, and then getting unstuck in your fitness lives usually leads to you getting unstuck in your personal lives, and so therefore you become like the superhero of your own life, and so that's the main goal with that. And so I write a lot of non-fitness posts, but then sometimes I throw some fitness in there, but yeah, just trying to get people unstuck
Cool.
and try to have people not stress out about fitness so
Yeah.
much, because fitness is really not, it doesn't need to be as difficult as you might see from like marketers and ads.
Yeah. I love that, the superhero of your own life. That's cool right there, superhero of your own life. And I know that you're all about kind of, you know, the fun in things and finding the fun way to do stuff, and that, you know, like, sure, you want to get fit, but it doesn't need to be serious.
Right, it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be serious, and it doesn't have to take over your whole life.
Yeah.
So you can still go out and have fun. You can still hang out with friends.
Really?
So
What?
yeah, you can still eat cookies. You know,
No.
you can't eat the whole bag, but you don't have to just eat steamed broccoli and bland chicken to get in shape. That's miserable. I went through that. I went through that in undergrad, where I was the guy who went out of class and then had his little tuna packets, and then I would eat my smelly tuna packets and have smelly tuna breath.
Oh
Because
no, that's gross.
yeah, so I don't want nobody else to go through that.
No, oh, well, you're doing the world a favor, Julian. So listen, I want to talk to you about fear, first of all. And I guess from a selfish point of view, because this is something that I'm kind of thinking about a lot at the moment, and you know, a lot of my work is kind of around fear. And what I see in you, and when we spoke last time and through the emails that we've had, what I see is that you didn't leave this kind of conventional path in order to just get by in creating the life that you love. Like, you're really out to create something incredible and to have success on a lot of different levels. It's not about just getting by, it's about doing something really great and having all of that greatness inside of you come out. And I feel that for myself as well. I feel like I didn't leave my 9 to 5 just to get by with my own business. I left to create something incredible, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm aiming for. And yet I feel that, and I see it in you. I see that's where you're going, and it's so exciting. And yet at the same time, there's always all these things holding me back. And they're always there, even though I'm always talking to people about fear and facing your fears, but they're there for me too. And some of the big ones for me are like, what will people think? Who am I? Who am I to do that? What value can I possibly offer? Like, I mean, seriously. And what if it doesn't work? Like, what if it just doesn't work? And I'm curious to know if, whilst you have all these big dreams and great visions and wanting to create this great thing, you have also this fear, and what are they, and how do you get past them?
Yeah, so I wake up every morning with a lot of fear. Fear doesn't, in my opinion, fear never goes away. So every time we try to do something courageous or something big and out of our comfort zone, there's going to be a lot of resistance there. But it's all in, the most important thing is how you choose to respond to that. How are you going to handle that fear? Are you going to let the fear stop you, or are you going to break through and go with that fear? So from the moment I decided to stop school and live on the internet, pretty much, it's scary, because people are like, how are you going to do that? There's no security, you know, there's no bosses, there's nothing. It's all on you to get it done. So that's fear in itself. There's a lot more people in like my fitness industry who have been around longer than me, and so that's pretty scary, because then you kind of run into the comparison game. You know, but at the end of the day, you have to just block all that off and have fun. Yeah. Just have fun with it, and if it fails, who cares? Yeah. Get back up and do it again, because you need failure in order to succeed. Yeah. Because that's where you're going to learn your best lessons at. So a lot of my best lessons have been learned from like epic fails. And so like that's the same thing with writing. Like, I look back at my first few articles and I kind of cringe. I have a hard time looking at them. I almost deleted them. But then I looked at it from a different point of view. Instead of looking at it as like that sucked, I looked at it as that was my first one, and then I looked at like maybe my 15th article, and I looked at the growth and how I matured and got into a better writer. And so it's all on your response of how you handle these situations, because you can't control a lot of your externals outside of around us, but we can't control how we respond to those situations. That helps me with my fear.
I love that. That's so true. And like you say about your blog posts, and I do the same, I look back at my early work and I think, oh, that's terrible. But as well as being able to look at it in a different way, it's also great for other people who are maybe, you know, following the same path, and they can look at where you started and look at how far you've come, and that's inspiring. It's cool.
Right, because it's this whole thing is bigger than just me or you. You know, there's a lot of people who want to take this leap, who want to take this chance, but are scared. And so I feel like we almost become leaders in showing that it can be done. Now, it's not easy by any means. It's tough as crap, and it's very stressful, but it's highly rewarding, and it's so much better to wake up every morning doing something that you love, instead of waking up, the first word is a couple curse words, and you're like, and you go brush your teeth, eat your breakfast, and now you put your clothes on and go to work for 8 hours, and you're just angry, and then you're just like bad-mouthing stuff all day with coworkers. So that's the alternative. So yeah, when you put it that way, it makes it, you know, like you say, it's hard work and it's stressful at times, but
at the end of the day, when you look at the alternative, it's like a no-brainer. Like, it's so cool. And I
Yeah,
love
I
what
mean,
you.
yeah,
Sorry.
anything worth really having is going to take hard work.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way I look at it, and it's part of our journey. Like, if it was hard, it probably wouldn't be as satisfying, and we wouldn't have as much gratitude for, like, when we do reach milestones.
For sure. And I wanted to ask you as well, like, how do you, apart from your own fear, like, how do you see fear show up in your clients' lives in, like, the fitness space, and how do you help them work through that? Because I know when I think about fitness, like, I have fear there. Sometimes, you know, like, it's scary to go to a class, or it's, if you haven't exercised in a while, it's kind of scary to get out there and go for a run in front of everyone. Like, how do you, like, what do you see showing up for people, and how do you help them through that?
So I'll break this down by genders. And so normally when I meet a female client, I tell her, hey, we're going to strength train and we're going to increase weight. Women are naturally still worried about that. Lifting heavy weights are going to make you big and bulky. And so therefore we have a lecture pretty much on that at the beginning. I'm telling them how it's actually the exact opposite of what's going to happen with that scenario. So that's usually women's biggest problem with that. And so it takes a couple of weeks for them to really feel comfortable with that notion. But then those initial results of, like, they're lifting heavier weight, but yet they're still losing some inches, and then their shape is changing for the better, which is what they wanted. Yeah. And so and they feel a lot better. And then with guys, it's the same problem I ran into when I first started working out is you're working out to get in shape. And so once you think that you have, like, a six-pack and some muscles, you think the world is going to come to you, and that the world is going to be your playground. And that's what I thought. And it's not like that. So a lot of times it's lack of confidence. And so, and that's usually the problem with some of the male clients that I've ran into, is that they put too much. They think all their problems are going to be solved by just getting a six-pack, getting in shape. Or the next thing is patience. So it's a lot of times you see these quick 12, get in the best shape of your life in 12 weeks, or get 30 pounds of muscle in 10 weeks. Those kind of things. And so those build unrealistic expectations from people. And then they see movie stars do it. It's like, oh, this movie star, so and so, he got ripped for this movie role. And so that's what I want to look like. And so people underestimate, like, the work that goes into that, the time commitment, and so that's being realistic. That's the hard part for people to know, that this is going to take longer than 12 weeks. This is a good start for you, but the process is going to be much longer than that, because we're constantly improving.
That's so true, though. I mean, we are, like, I'm just thinking, I have, like, an image of my Facebook newsfeed. I don't know whether this, like, says anything about what I read, but probably does, actually. Oh my goodness. You know, there's always, like, advertisements and things for, like, you know, do this in X number of weeks, and it creates in your mind the idea that it's possible to do that, and that's how it is for everybody, when in fact that isn't the case at all. And so then when we don't achieve that ourselves in that amount of time, it's really disappointing.
Right, we get down on ourselves when we feel like quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But, you know, those kind of advertisements are sexy. It's not sexy to say, work on your nutrition, work on your habits.
Yeah, it's going to take you 2 years.
If you work on your daily habits, you're going to be a much better person in 12 months. Yeah. That's not sexy as saying, get lean abs and get ripped in 12 weeks. Yeah. So.
Oh man, yeah, that's kind of, it's all a lie. It's a lie.
Very few, unless you have exceptional genetics. I mean, so I'll admit, I'm blessed with decent genetics. So I still had to work really hard, but I didn't have to work super hard compared to other people. Now, I've been lifting for about 8 years now, consistently. So it didn't happen overnight. No. So, but genetics helps a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that.
Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse, though. So I tell people it's not an excuse, though, because some people are like, oh, I got poor genetics. I can't ever lose weight because I got genetics. And so I absolutely hate hearing that.
Yeah. It's just how I am. I can't lose the weight.
Yeah, because there's somebody out there who's in a worse situation than whoever just said make that excuse, and they got it done still.
Yeah. And you mentioned, it's interesting because it leads on really well to my next question. You mentioned that for men, like actually what it is a question of confidence a lot of the time. And confidence is something that I see come up a lot with people that I work with and people that I'm talking to. And people say, if I just had enough confidence, when I've got it a little bit more confidence, then I'll be able to do X, Y, Z. And I kind of feel like it doesn't work like that. And I'd be interested to know your perspective on confidence, or just see how you've seen people's confidence change, or like, it's this word get, when people talk about getting confidence, like where do you think confidence comes from?
Confidence is inside. It comes from inside. No one can give you the confidence. You have to. The confidence is already there. It's just up to you to bring it out. I suffered terribly from confidence, even through like lifting weights. So I would always see myself as someone who people would say, "Oh man, you're in shape and all that," but I never saw that with myself because I still didn't like myself because my confidence was terrible. And so I was like, when I get in shape, then I'm going to start doing all this. I'm going to start being more social. I'm going to start going out more. And then you get in shape, but your mindset's still not there. And so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I don't. You really just have to. The most confident people I've seen really have a different perspective on life. So they're just like, I'll go do this. What's the worst thing that could happen? When you're a lot of people are scared to talk to strangers, myself included sometimes. And so if you think about it, what's the worst thing that could happen going to talk to a stranger? It might be an awkward 5 seconds of your life, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a deal. And so a lot of our situations are really not that big of a deal. And so we're just psyching ourselves out.
Yeah. And that's really how where I see this whole confidence question, is that the confidence comes through going out and doing those things that you don't have the confidence to do. So it's kind of a bit paradoxical, but you get the confidence after having done the thing. So it's not like, when I have the confidence, then I can do this. It's like, no, I'm going to do this even though I don't have the confidence, and then I'm going to have the confidence to go further.
Right. People, their first week of working out, they're a little scared. They're a little weary of everything. But they get through it. You just have to get through it. Somehow, some way, you get through it. The second week, you feel a lot better. And your confidence is getting better week by week by week. It's the same thing with writing. Very nervous when I used to write. I used to almost get anxiety attacks hitting the publish button because I was so worried about what everyone else was going to say or think about it. But then you just do it, and then you just keep doing it and doing it, and next thing you know, you're confident about it because you develop an attitude about it, like, who cares?
That's perfect. Now, I have one last question, and it's a big one, so I want you to take your time and think about it, but it's a question that I've been, just in the last 48 hours, I've been asking myself after a conversation that I had with my own coach, actually. And the question is, and I've now got it as a screensaver on my computer, what would you do next if you didn't give a fuck?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. Is this personal or business?
Anything. So something like, what are you not doing that you know you want to do? Like, where are you holding back? What do you want to create? Like, whatever it is, wherever in your life. But what would you do next if you really didn't give a fuck?
Oh, wow. Let's see. That's a good question. I like that question. I'm going to steal that question.
Yeah, please do. I stole it.
Yeah. Let's see. Right now, I'm actually in the process of it, but I haven't did it yet, so it doesn't count. It's all a great idea. It's a fantasy, but I haven't actually did it yet. So I'm going to I want to create episodes on YouTube. So I have a YouTube station, and we're going to do episodes, and they're going to be sporadic. They're going to have music references. They're going to have movie references. I'm might be in costume sometimes.
Ah!
I want it to be just one giant party with a little moments of seriousness because I think people take themselves way too seriously. And yeah, I just want to create an entertaining fitness YouTube station that goes over people's habits and whatever else they want to hear about. And that would be it for business wise. And then personally, I'll do a personal one. Personal one
Yes,
is
please.
I want to travel. I need to travel more. I want to travel more and quit using the excuse that I need to work more. I don't have enough time. So I want to travel and be a little more social, hanging out with my friends. Because I have a knack to disappear from friends and go into my cave, my work cave.
Is this your cave here, right here?
Yeah, this is one of my caves. I have multiple.
Okay.
I have multiple caves. So, but yeah, and get off the internet so much, and hang out with friends and keep the relationships up. Because
Yeah.
I've been really bad for the last few months of not keeping in contact with friends because I think work,
Yeah.
and so.
I really hear you on that one. One of my things recently is to like get out in the real world, get out of my cave, get out into the real world and spend some time with some real people, because it's so easy when you're kind of doing the sort of work that we're doing to sit for days on end behind your computer, and that's not really real life at the end of the day. So yeah,
right,
I hear you.
right, and it's not bad because you're doing a lot of stuff you love,
Yeah,
and so next thing you know, it's like shit. It's been 6 hours, and then friends call and hey, you want to go hang out or do this or grab a beer? And I'm like, I need to work on this article or I need to work on this project.
Yeah.
So
there's always something else to do.
Yeah, and in our world, there's always going to be something on a to-do list that we could do.
Yeah.
Because we hold a lot of hats because we don't have employees right now. So there's always something to do.
Cool, awesome answers. Thanks, Julian.
Thank you.
So just before we leave, I want you to tell people if they're interested to know more about you or what you do, what's the best way to find you, get in touch, which channels are you on? Tell us more.
Okay, so my website will be 206fitness.com. Twitter is Julian Hayes 206, and Instagram would be Julian Hayes and 2 eyes, because that's and then Facebook is facebook.com, I believe, 206fitness.
Cool.
And,
wow, we have so much social media in our lives, don't we?
There's a lot of social media, and some days I forget to get on social media, and then some days I have like a social media binge where I get on.
I know.
So
awesome. Well, yeah, I'm going to post links to all of those as well.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Julian, listen, thank you so much for your time today. That was awesome.
Well, thanks for having me. I definitely enjoyed it. I love talking about fear since it's only been a couple of months since I've actually gotten a handle on it. So it's still an idea that's really ingrained in my head.
I think we all have it. But listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.